Footy Replay for Chemist Warehouse. Discover the new fragrance Diesel Bath. Available now at Chemist Warehouse.
The miss came from the Bombers. Penetrates back to full forward towards Hooker. Fantasia, Collier, round the body for a second goal for the Bombers.
Close again. Oh, bit of a falcon on that occasion. Goddard works his man off the ball. Comes to Bastanak. Gets it to Rich. Rich has a go at goal and kicks the beauty.
This quarter of SEN football for Self-Wealth. Trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade.
Entertaining game here from the Gabba. Brisbane trail it by 6 points at home. The Bombers have kicked 4-2-26. Brisbane 3-2-20. Danaher, Merritt, Fantasia and Collier, the goal scorers for the Bombers, while for the Lions, Beams, Rich and Close. Brett Phillips and Rob Waters as we go around the grounds for McGregor Portables and offers granny flat or footy change room anywhere. St Kilda off to a good start over at Domain Stadium. The 8 scoring shots to 2, 3-5-23, the West Coast 2 straight. But here, Rob, good game of footy.
And the Gabba's got a bit of a buzz about it.
Bit of life?
Yeah, it's great. Because we've been at the Gabba often when the opposite has been there. It can be soulless at times when the Lions have struggled, let's face it. But they are playing with purpose under Chris Fagan. Essendon, well, I think they got going later in that term. Jobe Watson, who we can see on our monitor, did a couple of unusual things for Jobe. He uses it so well, but he had a couple of clangers and then
only going at 40% by foot in that opening quarter.
So it'll be interesting to see whether the Brisbane Lions midfield can sustain this level of excellence, because they are matching them in there, and if some of their forwards had just hung on to a couple of more marks, they could have been in front, really.
And the theme of Chris Fagan has been, be competitive and hard at the contest. The polish will come eventually, but you sort of like what Brisbane are trying to do. They're trying to be creative. Cutler, every time he gets the ball off half-back, just wants to run and go. It's just going to come down to execution for the Lions.
Just seen a shot of Joe Danaher and Harris Andrews, two of the young guns, just having a nice gentle chat to each other. I wonder if it's as gentle out there as it seemed from my vantage point.
Probably not. One of the key matchups for Toyota Material Handling tonight. Australia's first choice for new and used Toyota forklifts. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. As the Bombers go inside forward 50, Fantasia, Howlett. Going to handball at the back to Hooker. They're gathered by Bastanak. Only clears the danger zone momentarily. Gathered by Zaharakis. Around the corner, McKernan with a kick right towards the goal square. Almost a falcon there for Langford. Spun out of the tackle nicely. Little dribbling attempt at goal by Hooker. Goes off the boot of Jack Frost, which is unfortunate for Jack Frost.
Yeah, rebounded below his knee, so it's out in the full.
And a tough kick here for Hooker. Missed one narrowly at the other end of the ground, take a little step out to the right. This one out to the left, that's better. Executed this one nicely. Good start to the second quarter for Essendon. SEN Silvertop Taxi scoreboard 131008. Why wait? You can download the app now, and the Bombers are out by 12 points, 5-2-32, Brisbane 3-2-20.
Gee, the modern day player's good at working a method from those tricky kicks from a tough angle so well now, and whether it's the left kick around the corner or a banana or the dribble kick or whatever it is, it is commonplace now that those goals are in the main kicked, and they struggle more with the more conventional set shots. So Dakes was ahead of his time all those years ago.
It was.
Gee, Jack Frost is stiff as we look in the Chemist Warehouse replay. That ball ricocheted off his knee. So there was inches in that. The call went against him. Back in the middle, it's McKernan winning it at ground level now for Essendon. McGrath tackled very heavily off the ball, but it spills to Merritt. Kicks to centre half forward. Hooker's taken a good mark there. Quickly hand passes to Watson, whose pass is perfect to Joey Danaher, who comes out on a very purposeful lead and takes the comfortable mark.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They lost the centre clearance count last week by 10 to the Gold Coast, Brisbane, 21-11, and you just feel like the Bombers, with the fine talent that they've got in the middle of the ground, that's where they can really get on top and get that quick kick forward, which is going to put the Lions defenders under a lot of pressure.
He's straight in front, and Joey Danaher's 2 from 2. So
and
he's
two conventional kicks.
Yes, perfect for Joe Danaher, and that's where I think he's got some of the other young gun big forwards covered. he has that footballer's instinct as to when to time the lead, and that was a lovely kick from Watson, but Danaher led into the space, and that was very comfortable for him, and really good stuff for the Essendon faithful that his kicking's on song.
Absolutely. So nice little buffer here for the Bombers. We've only gone 3 minutes. SEN Air Conditioning Warehouse sales clock in this second quarter. Get Melbourne's best air conditioning prices at Air Conditioning Warehouse sales. And we'll just get a look at those clearance stats in just a moment. Here's Watson again. So they're getting down to the middle here, the Bombers. They kick towards half forward. Frost just letting Hooker to the footy. Lost his footing though. Zaharakis with a strong tackle there on May, on Buick. And takes him over the boundary line. Bombers already at half forward. So centre bounce work at the moment. The Bombers are getting it done. Second quarter for South Wealth. You can trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade. Martin the palm down. Goes and fetches his own footy. No room to move though. And the ball goes over the boundary line.
So Parrish 3 clear. Rockcliffe 4 clearances. Parrish 3. McKernan 2. Watson 2. And Watson's, I think both of those have been in this second term already.
Yep.
So the Bombers out to an 18-point lead. A couple of early goals in the second quarter. And they've got it forward again. Merritt, who's a beautiful kick. That one won't come off. Beams has got it now. Whips out the hand pass to Taylor, to Gardner, to Bastanak. And another hand pass gets to Harwood. And they're out here, the Brisbane Lions. Harris Andrews has got it now. He kicks to the middle of the ground, and that was a poor option. And Hartley has taken the mark, or Ambrose has taken the mark for Essendon. He swings it out wide. Merritt really starting to get involved now. And when he racks them up, they usually go to a Bombers teammate, as that one has. Joe Watson is marked in the middle. So Watson trying to direct traffic here. Short pass is perfect again. Parrish has marked. He'll look for Danaher instinctively, you would have thought. Andrews guarding him pretty closely. So Parrish goes long. Langford almost marked. Got a fair chunk of that. Then he has to battle hard for it at ground level. They pile in. I don't think it's coming out. No, Hooker just wrenches it out of there. And Rich, though, is caught very high in defence. And he's going to get a free kick. The advantage will be paid to Dane Beams.
Beams to Zorko. Just hemmed in by Gleeson. Just had to hack one towards the wing. Rolls towards the boundary line. Hartley just inside. Now it'll go over, so I'll have it thrown in. Bombers by 18 points. 11-16. SEN footy for Subway, Toyota and Poker Deluxe fundraisers. Brett Phillips and Rob Waters here from the Gabba on a Saturday night. The weather is fine. The deck is good after a tough week for Queensland with Cyclone Debbie. Here's Zorko from the stoppage. Does nicely. Little handball on the up there from Beams. Got some contact. Advantage paid. Rich. Now to Louis Taylor. 45 out. He's going to go out to the right, though, with the kick. Exploded from the stoppage there, the Brisbane Lions. SEN Silvertop Taxi scoreboard. 131008. Why wait? You can download the app now. Bombers by 17 points.
Around the grounds from the Gregor Portables, and St Kilda 37 lead the West Coast Eagles 12. So a 25-point margin there for the Saints, and something of a surprise early doors, or late in the opening quarter. And Melbourne 10 leading Penrith 6 in the NRL. So it's Brisbane's Martin with the footy. He just launches it long deep into the forward line. There's a big climb. Bastanak almost picked it up and then would have been able to run into an open goal. He made a bit of a mess of that. And that's allowed Collier to get it, and off he goes. He goes straight up the guts and takes a bounce. I think hand passes to Beams. Beams on his left, now on his right. Can go for goal. Oh, he shanked the kick. So that's a real let-off for Essendon, and they lead by 16 points, 6-2-38 to 3-4-22, and that's on the Silvertop Taxi scoreboard.
So Zach Merritt plays on from his defensive goal square. Goes wide to Heppel at half-back. So Bombers just skipping clear in this second term. Looks to find McDonald Tipperwoody, takes the mark in front of Harris Andrews.
Nearly 50.
Umpire just puts him back behind his mark. They continue to work it up the line here, the Bombers. Big fist in there from Zorko, who got in front of Parrish and thumped it out of bounds. They'll have a boundary throw in. Second quarter for South Wealth. You can trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade. And the Bombers just getting on top at ground level at the moment. Got that good speed. Certainly winning the stoppages and the centre clearances. Big kick by Parrish towards half forward. The Gathered by Gardner. Rockcliffe works it back to Leicester. Tight confines of the boundary. Mark taken here by Zorko. He's right in front of the interchange. And the Bombers just pushing their numbers back, not allowing the Lions to really run and go at the moment, so they've just got to measure their way through. Short one to young Barrett. It goes up the line. Rich Schmidt-Heppel in a tough contest. Now they're gathered by Rockcliffe. Campbell couldn't quite find McStay. Gleeson able to gather Dyson Heppel under lots of pressure there by Barrett. And that's the big feature he brings. Strong-bodied young man who is certainly tough at the contest. And that ball out of bounds at half forward for the Lions. Bombers 6-2-38. Brisbane 3-4-22.
Martin and McKernan in ruck. One by Martin, got it to Bastanak, who just hurriedly kicks it towards close. Couldn't take the mark. Heppel's back there, but he's slung off the footy, and he's getting a free kick. Having a good night, the skipper once again, although probably down on his normal output. Just the 7 disposals for first-rate car loan for Dyson Heppel. Zach Merritt is the game-high leader with 15. Beams has had it 13 times. First-rate car loan stats. Essendon trying to tiptoe their way out of defence. McDonald Tippenwoody takes his man underneath it. Then he recovers first and he picks it up very elegantly on the wing. And then he's wrapped up and he's gone. Brisbane 3. Oh, no! It's gone against Tommy Bell. Oh, I think they've got a case to be upset, the Brisbane Lions fans there.
Well, I've got to get a look at that on the SEN Chemist Warehouse replay. I mean, that is ridiculous.
He's paid the hold, but he disposed of it illegally. Just threw it out of there.
Well, you didn't even need the glasses on, Rob, to even notice. I mean, that is just so plainly clear. Mind-boggling.
I didn't even consider for 1 second that the free kick could go that way. Could cost him a goal. Goddard's marked in the forward line.
He has. So things just not going the way of Brisbane in this second term. One coming off the boot of Jack Frost, and here we go. McDonald Tippenwoody gathers. Oh,
trip.
Well, yeah,
maybe
just right at the end.
An accidental trip, and then he whacks Bell in the guts. So Bell hasn't had a great moment there.
Yeah. Well, we've just seen a closer look at the Chemist Warehouse replay, and probably fair enough. He's Goddard right from the 50. It's on its way. Umpire just arches the back for an SEN Chisholm game and goal of the night. 22-point lead for the Bombers, 7-2-44. Brisbane 3-4-22 have gone 10 minutes on the SEN air conditioning warehouse sales clock in this second term.
I still reckon he's stiff there, Tom Bell. That is very line ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's ended up with a goal to Goddard, and they've weathered the storm, so to speak. Don't know if it's appropriate to talk in those terms given the week that Queensland's endured, but yeah, the Bombers are out now, and it's a very handy break, 7-2-44 to Brisbane's 3-4-22, and that was a perfectly executed kick from Brendan Goddard.
13-7 the clearances, Essendon. They are just getting their hands on the footy in the middle and around the ground as well for first-rate car loans.
And they've kicked 5 goals in a row, the Dons. And we're back in the middle once more with Beams trying to kick off the ground. Well, when he was on the ground, it ended up with Heppel, who releases Fantasia, who puts on the Jets, goes for goal and kicks another one. 2 to Orazio, and didn't he just explode away from his opponent there? He is an exciting young footballer, and Essendon now lead by 28 points on the Silvertop Taxi scoreboard.
Just got pace, haven't they? And just breaking away from the stoppages really well. Fantasia missing Green tonight, but across half-back they've got that real run. McDonald Tippenwoody forward. Gee, they're exciting, the Bombers, if they can keep their list fit and healthy this year. There's no reason to suggest they can't be in that finals conversation.
Well, they don't lack much, really. I mean, they probably want to get their ruckman up and going, but McKernan's at least competitive, but everywhere else, they seem to have all bases covered.
Here's Watson out of the middle again. Only kicking at 40% in the opening quarter. He's lifted that to 67%. Hitting some targets, Joe Watson. Here's Danaher from outside 50. Wheels on the left. Hooker! He's got it! What a mark by Cale Hooker. An SEN Glenn Cameron Group mark of the night. That's another Cameron's can-do grab. Big fly over Gardner. And he's lining up for his second directly in front, and the Bombers extend their lead. Out to 34 points, 9-2-56. Brisbane 3-4-22, 12 gone. SEN Silvertop Taxi scoreboard 131008. Why wait? You can download the app now. And they are barnstorming their way through this second quarter.
Well, they're belting them in the middle of the ground. They are getting the first effort out of the middle, and then they're using it particularly well. I reckon they would have got a bit of a hurry up from their coach, John Worsfold, at quarter time about the way they were moving the footy. And they have cleaned up that act, and Watson's been incredibly influential in this second term as well.
Quarter time around the grounds from McGregor Portables, Robert. Domain Stadium, St Kilda 5-7-37. Great start leading West Coast 2 straight 12.
Wow, that's a massive upset if the Saints can sustain that, and that will erase the horrors of last week. Essendon's got it in the middle again, but Watson hand passes it to Beams, who gives it off to Taylor. Hurried kick from Taylor, doesn't really travel much. McGrath knocks it away from Bastanak, but the Lions regather it. Comes to Rockcliffe, kick around the corner, goes over the line, and there'll be a boundary throw-in. James Kelly uncharitably appealing for the deliberate out of bounds. We're not really allowed to say that anymore. It's more that he failed to try and keep it in. Yes. That's the new sort of ruling. So boundary throw-in, the ruckman lock up. Martin and McKernan. Comes to Zaharakis. Dishes off to Merritt, who's going to get a free kick, I reckon. Yeah, it's going against Bastanak. He fell into that a bit, Bastanak, and Merritt may have played up a bit to it, but it was there. He gets it across the ground to Hurley. Hurley then goes inboard, chopped off by Lester. Hand pass over the top from Lester. Zorko on the left. Goals, no, it's the post. And John Worsfold in the Essendon coaching box is not a happy man. That was a bit sloppy from the Dons, and they have been let off a couple of times in this quarter, with Brisbane yet to kick a goal from a couple of good chances.
So Kelly to put it back into play at half-back. He finds Stanton in game 250. He's had the 10 touches to this stage of the contest. Here's Hartley. Oh, he brought it back inside. Well done by Goddard. He got to it. Daisy cutter ball. Beautiful kick to Orazio Fantasia, who had a truckload of space to lead up into.
Well, not many are going to be able to go with this kid on a lead like that.
Kicked the 4 last week against the Hawks. He's already kicked 2. As you were mentioning earlier, coming into this season, sort of averaging around just over a goal a game. And, well, already in the first 2 rounds, he's doing more damage on the scoreboard than he's ever done across his career. Right on the 50 for Orazio Fantasia. Oh, it's curling back beautifully for another goal. Terrific kick. Bombers with a big second term here at the Gabba. 10-2-62, leading Brisbane 3-5-23. SEN Silvertop Taxi scoreboard 131008. Why wait? You can download the app now. The Bombers are dominant here by 39 points.
Well, they've kicked 6 unanswered goals in this second quarter, and they are smashing the Brisbane Lions now, and it's clinical the way they're doing it. They've been given far too much space by Brisbane, whose defensive systems have broken down. And Fantasia might kick 8 or 9 if he's given that sort of latitude by Brisbane and space that he can run into, because no one's going to be able to go with him. And that pass was perfect from Goddard.
Just a small correction to that quarter time score. West Coast 4 straight 24, St Kilda 6-7-43. The AFL's Twitter feed just a little bit behind, Rob. So
okay.
I just wanted to clarify that. Not looking as bad for the West Coast Eagles.
No, it's not. And we've ripped off a few points, and we've given them a couple of extra goals, which is all important in terms of accuracy there. So it's not as dire for the Eagles, but the Saints have still started well. Essendon really piling on the heat in this second quarter. Langford has it on the wing, and he gives his man the slip there with some clever stuff. Blazers long to full forward. Hooker's there. Robertson was up high flying. Goes and gets it at ground level. McDonald, Tip and Woody, good tackle. But a Brisbane player was caught high, and it's McStay who's going to win himself the free kick.
So McStay deep in defence. Oh, too much hang time. A terrible kick inboard to Robertson. Heppel's taken the mark. And it's just not happening for Brisbane, who just feel like I've lost a little bit of confidence in this second quarter. And that one will be on the review tape during the week. If we're going to go inboard, boy oh boy, you've got to hit your targets. And Just set up beautifully for Heppel.
We tried to kick it off one step, and that's when players come unstuck more often than not.
So Dyson Heppel will skip past the 50 now. He's got plenty of goal face to look at, looking for a bit of left to right, but it's going to hang out to the left for a behind. 10-3-63. 3-5-23 margin. 40 points for the Bombers on the SEN Silver Top Taxi scoreboard. Second quarter for South Wealth. You can trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade.
So Brisbane just needs some cool heads here to try and tough this one out. It'll be hard for them because Essendon's piled on 6 goals and we're only halfway through the second quarter, and there's some very concerned looks in the Brisbane coaching box at the moment as they trail by 40 points. So Danaher having a little run on the ball. Didn't really make any contact there, but Collier got it to Merritt. Merritt spearing past to full forward. McDonald, Tippenwoody's there. Here's a snap in towards goal. It came from Howlett. And it's missing long and wide. So behind to the Bombers, whose lead is now 41 points, 10-4 to 3-5. And that's on the Silver Top Taxi scoreboard.
Buick up the middle on the stretch. Cutler takes the mark. Brisbane trying to create a bit of run off half-back. He's forced to go wide with the kick on the stretch. Good mark by Bell. Here for the Lions, who started well. Competitive opening quarter, but the Bombers have broken it open here in the second quarter. With their centre clearance work, good pace around the footy. Hooker and Danaher forward doing some damage. Danaher going the spoil. He's on Hipwood at the moment. Just the target miss there by Collier, but time for Kelly to mop up in the back half here for Essendon. Chips it back to Bagley. So they come from one side of the ground to the other. Bagley will chip it short here to Goddard. Still inside defensive 50, Essendon. 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. They can pile on a bit more pain. Measures one, just marked inside the boundary line by Bagley, who's run from behind the footy to take this mark. Second quarter for South Wealth. You can trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade. Bombers well on top here. Brett Phillips and Rob Waters from the Gabba. A long kick towards half forward. Andrews had a piece of it. And it goes off hands out of bounds for a boundary throw in. Around the grounds from McGregor Portables, it is the Saints at the moment 6-7-43. West Coast 4 straight 24. Just underway there in the second quarter. We'll keep you up to date with the Melbourne Storm as well. Half-time 10-6, they lead Penrith.
Zach Merritt up to 17 possessions for first-rate Carlone stats. So Brisbane kicked to half forward. Hipwood was the target. He couldn't take the mark, and it's punched over the line. There'll be a boundary throw-in with Brisbane trailing by 41 points and needing a goal or two just to settle themselves down. They were really good in the first quarter, but they've been opened up in this second by a very, very impressive Essendon unit. So boundary throw-in, 75 from the Brisbane goal. Martin in ruck, wins the tap, gets it to Mitch Robinson, who hand passes off to Dane Beams, who's going backwards. Now he's kicking to half forward. Free kick surely to Martin Gleeson. He was given a big shove there by Tommy Bell. So the kick goes to the young Essendon defender. McDonald Tippenwoody's on the end of his pass. Beautiful kick from him to centre half forward. Watson, little fumble, but he's got support. The Zaharakis, his hand pass chopped off by Bastanak. He hand passes it to Collier, who gives it to Danaher. We're in the middle now. Hurley goes back to Bagley. Buys some time. His kick, not so good to Zaharakis. Knocked away by McStay, who goes for the boundary line. Shoved over it by Michael Hurley. And again, we'll have a throw in on the wing with Essendon 64, leading the Brisbane Lions 23.
Only had the 2 more inside 50s, Essendon, but they lead it here by 41 points. First rate Carlone stat sheet. You can head to firstratecarlones.com.au for your next car loan. Here's Bastanak. He'll go on the left boot towards half forward. Hipwood flies. Takes the mark. Oh, then sort of kicked into his own man in Rich. Oh, deflected off the boot towards McGrath, and now Essendon will gain control at half back. Kelly, Gleeson, here's Zaharakis. Looking to hit a target. They cut a path through the middle of the Gabba. Nicely done to Heppel. He's got time to turn on that left. Long kick inside towards Hooker. Jack Frost with the spoil. Grand level ball, Langford and Cutler off Cutler's boot. Essendon appealing for maybe deliberate there or out of bounds on the full potentially. We'll get a look at the SEN Chemist Warehouse replay, but nonetheless it's in the left forward pocket here for the Bombers. Looking to put a bit more pain on the scoreboard here for the Lions.
So throwing in the Bombers forward pocket. And they conjure something here. McKernan to Heppel. Left foot snap from the skipper. It's across the face. And a behind to the Dons. Heppel a bit frustrated by his effort there, but they lead very comfortably here. 10-5, 65 to 3-5, 23. So Buick at fullback with a number of options, and he decides to go short to Harris Andrews, who's had his hands full tonight with Joe Danaher, who's kicked nice and straight, and he's had plenty of time on the ball to give McKernan a bit of a chop out. Bell, short pass, has to be precise, it is. And he's got it to his teammate in Buick. Back pocket for him. This kick has to be perfect. Kelly with the good late spoil. Brisbane fans wanted a free kick, it's not there. Comes now to Howlett, who works a 1-2. He's given it up though. Pinched by Bell. Hurry kick to half forward. Not much there. Hartley's in the way. Does well. Controls it. Hand pass over the top to Bagley, to Goddard. Now they're right, the Bombers. Here's Ambrose. Kick is important in the middle. It's perfect to Watson. Wants to get it on quickly to Zaharakis. Got there on the bounce. Zaharakis had to work hard for it. Collier, clever stuff. Hand pass to McKernan, who taps away. Comes to Rockcliffe. Rockcliffe hand passes. Oh, McDonald, Tip and Woody. Almost got Harwood high. He did get Harwood. No, he didn't. Play goes on. Kelly, beautiful pass to Fantasia. Knocked away from him. He gets it back, Kelly, with the follow-up. Kicks long, high to full forward. Hooker, oh, bounces off his chest and through for a behind in the goal square. This is interesting, Chemist Warehouse replay. McDonald, Tip and Woody pulled out of the tackle and almost leapfrogged Harwood there. Good call from the ump.
Yeah, I reckon. Absolutely. SEN Chemist Warehouse replay giving us a good view of that. Here's Martin de Beams. Dane Beams coming up for his 17th disposal. And he's been going at 90%. There's a 50. Mark was taken by Louis Taylor, who's interfered with. In this big second quarter for the Bombers for self-wealth. You can trade the ASX for just $9.50 per trade. And this will take Louis Taylor inside 50. They need to hit the scoreboard here, the Lions.
Yeah, they haven't taken all their chances in this second quarter. They've probably only had 2 or 3, but they've missed a couple of gettable shots, so he must kick this.
Bombers with 47 more disposals overall. And Louis Taylor, certainly plenty of goal face to look at here. He'll kick from 35 to pull the margin back here. And that one's gone well out to the right. And just scrapes in for a behind. 3-6-24 Brisbane, Essendon 10-5, 65 SEN. Silvertop taxi scoreboard around the grounds from McGregor Portables. It is 6-9-45, St Kilda West Coast 4-1-25 at Domain Stadium.
So Essendon kick it up towards the wing. Hartley just made a bit of a mess of that, but they might get it back. Stanton mops up. And they can reload on the wing. Travis Collier's in control. Kick to Langford. Third juggle, but was he over the line? Umpire let him get away with it. Really aggressive kick from Langford. Great spoil from Hipwood. May have been a free kick against him, but he got away with that. Then he hand passes to Martin. Martin to Beams. Beams in the middle of the Gabba. Brisbane need a goal or two now just to settle things down. Goes wide to Nick Robertson, who's got Parrish there with him. Can he get rid of him? No, he can't. But Parrish did really well. The tackle's stuck, and surely that's holding the ball. It is. Robertson backed his strength against the second year up, but Parrish was up to the task there. Short pass is good to Bagley. Inside the final 3 minutes of the opening half. Bagley loads up and goes long. Gardner's there first, though, for the Brisbane Lions. Didn't mark it, but now he's still in control of the footy. Beams racking him up. Slips over at the wrong moment, though. Merritt nails him. Hand pass might come back to them. It comes to Rockcliffe. He just grabs it and kicks it as far as he can. It works a treat. Robertson's marked on the wing.
Yeah, good strong mark by Nick Robertson. Tough as nails. Got a haircut. I don't know if I'd go with that, Rob, to be totally honest, but good luck to the young fella. Goes in short to Rockcliffe, who's once again racking up the numbers. Had the 37 last week, the former captain. He's had the 15 tonight. In short to Bastanak. Just their run's been stopped. They've set up around the ground really well, Essendon, in this second quarter. Does find Bell. Just want Tom Bell to sort of impact the contest a bit more for a guy of his size. Goes long towards full forward. Hipwood with a big stretch. Couldn't take the mark. Lester, good tackle on McGrath. Pins the ball in. Umpire just felt the initial contact was in the back. Gee, not much in it. Fine line. And McGrath Too much hang time in the kick, clearing it out of defence, and Sam Mays sweeps in to take the mark, and he hit a target inside 50. Here comes Zorko. Jeez, he had a fair piece of it, lost his footing. Harwood still alive. Now Robinson around the corner, got the elevation and got the accuracy. For an SEN Chisholm game and goal of the night. And the Lions pull it back, 35 points. Bombers 10-5, 65. Brisbane 4-6-30. We've gone 28 minutes of this second quarter.
Well, they've been opened up in this second quarter, but you really can't question the effort of the Brisbane Lions. They are digging in deep here, trying to pull this one back. It's a Herculean task from the 6 goals down that they are, but that gives them some hope of going into the second half with a degree of optimism. They've got a minute and a bit just to try and kick another one, and then it's a bit more doable. But again, another almost moment. Zorko could have taken the mark, but just dropped it. But Robinson cleaned up there, and that was a really good snap at goal from a long range out. So back in the middle. Clearance really important here. Martin wins it to Robinson, but he hand passes it to Watson, whose little kick heads to centre half forward. Buick has it though for the Lions. He goes straight up the guts, long and direct to Hipwood, who can't take the mark. Kelly bumped off the kick, comes to Close, who's been quiet in this second quarter after a good first term. Back to Mitch Robinson. High kick once again. Zorko's going to have to go here against Hurley, and Hurley dropped the mark, but Gleeson trying to weave his way out. Oh, Heppel's hit hard and high. No free kick. Zorko, gee, mate, he murdered there. Surely that was a kick. Kick to Robinson on the wing. 40 seconds left in the first half. Brisbane have got it. Mays now, short pass good. They might have one last crack. And Nick Robinson in control of the footy. He'll kick it high and long, hope for a big mark. They're wrestling. Close is marked. He shoved 3 of them out of the way and marked in the forward pocket. That's a Glenn Cameron group mark of the night.
Yeah, pretty much going to kick on the siren, Rob. Michael Close.
He's strong, isn't he? He outbodied Hurley. Gleeson was coming late, and he had little impact on Close there.
Big inclusion. I mean, he only played, about a half a dozen games in the last 2 years, Close. And if he can stand up, Shacky back, Hipwood continues to develop. Certainly the long-term picture looks good.
It does, doesn't it? Well, they have got a heap of key tools if he comes good. Important kick. Michael Close, 25 out, tightish angle, gets the job done for Brisbane. 2 in a row, and they've got some hope once more. And they'll go into half-time full of beans. They trail 5-6-36 to Essendon's 10-5-65. The Dons piled on 6 goals in that second quarter to control the game. A couple late, though, have given Brisbane some real energy as they go into half-time.
Around the grounds for McGregor Portables and offers Granny Flat or a footy change room anywhere. Second quarter over at Domain Stadium, St Kilda 6-9-45 as Mark Lacroix is lining up to pull the margin back to 13 points. West Coast currently 4-2-26, so we'll just keep an eye on this shot for goal from Mark Lacroix. It doesn't miss too often, so the margin back to 13 points. Saints lead it. And half-time, of course, down at Amy Park, the Melbourne Storm leading Penrith 10-6. Coming up, our Kangan Institute half-time break. We'll have a look at the top 5 players on the ground for tyre power. Rob will cast his eye over that. This is 11-16 SEN footy for Subway, Toyota and Poker Deluxe fundraisers.
Footy replay for Chemist Warehouse. Discover the new fragrance Diesel Bag. Available now at Chemist Warehouse.
Kicks to centre half forward. Hooker's taken a good mark there. Quickly hand passes to Watson, whose pass is perfect to Joey Danaher. He's straight in front, and Joey Danaher's 2 from 2. And it ended up with Heppel, who releases Fantasia, who puts on the Jets, goes for goal, and kicks another one.
Here's Danaher from outside 50, wheels on the left. Hooker! He's got it! What a mark by Cale Hooker. And he's lining up for his second directly in front, and the Bombers extend their lead. Here comes Zorko. Jeez, he had a fair piece of it, lost his footing. Harwood still alive. Now Robinson around the corner, got the elevation and got the accuracy.
On 11-16 SEN, the halftime break for Kangan Institute. Real education, real skills, real jobs. kangan.edu.au.
Well, Bombers with a big second quarter. Could have looked a little bit worse on the scoreboard. Brisbane with 2 late goals before half-time. Keep them in the contest here. Essendon 10-5-65, leading Brisbane 5-6-36. Brett Phillips and Rob Waters with you, our Kangan Institute. Half-time break, real education, real skills, real jobs. Check them out at kangan.edu.au. The other game in progress is at Domain Stadium in the West. Got about 6 minutes to play before half-time. And it is the Saints right now, 7-10-52, leading West Coast 5-3-33. Well, let's have a look at this first half, Rob, for those that are out and about. The Lions fans in Melbourne and the Bombers fans as well. They really skipped clear. They got a lot of ascendancy out of the middle. The clearance is where the big differential is at the moment for Essendon. But Brisbane just stayed in the contest, didn't have it all their own way, couldn't really get out and really run and create like they did against the Gold Coast, but they're not out of this game.
Well, clearance is 19-11 in favour of Essendon, and I really think they picked up their ball use in that second quarter. Joe Watson's a case in point. Yeah. What was the stat at quarter time?
40% by foot. And elevate that to 60 now by half time.
Yeah, and he's probably in the high 60s and the low 70s is his normal output. So, yeah, he was really good. And look, they can get you a number of ways. I think once they win possession and the ball in the midfield, they've got Hooker and Danaher up there Danaher particularly got some nice marks on the lead, or they can both take a high grab, as we know. But then their smalls can get you. Like Fantasia's got a few tricks. He can be the end of the link in the chain and burst clear and kick a running goal. But his leading patterns, he's really learning that as the more he plays. And so not many small defenders can go with him. So if he gets space to lead into, and the kick's good as it was, I think it was Goddard that hit him or Watson, he's going to be really, really difficult for defenders to stop.
Kicked 4 last week. He's already got 3 to half time. So he's doing the job, hitting the scoreboard.
He's good fun to watch, isn't he, too? So he's a really promising young player that Essendon unearthed last year.
Let's have a look at your top 5, Rob, for Tyre Power. Tyre Power's massive Easter sale catalogue is online now. Just go to tyrepower.com.au, the 5 that have had the biggest influence.
Well, I think Zach Merritt's been enormous. He's the leading possession getter on the ground.
Class.
For Essendon with 17 for first-rate car loan stats. And look, he's a magnificent young player. And there's many at Essendon, I think, who believe that he's a future Brownlow medalist. Yeah. He is that good.
Silky.
And, coming off the best and fairest win last year, and he shows no signs of not continuing his terrific form, and he's only going to get better and better. So I really liked his game. I've put Beams in there for Brisbane, who's just led from the front. He's had 19 possessions to half time. I think he's a maturing person, and his football is going to benefit from that, and the captaincy seems to suit him now. Come a long way from his time at Collingwood, and he's a very good player for the Brisbane Lions. I've put in Fantasia with his 3 goals, his excitement. Joe Watson was really influential in that second term, won a heap of ball in the middle of the ground, used it superbly. And Collier's playing well. He's a really important player. So they've got a lot of speed, Essendon, with Fantasia, McDonald, Tip and Woody, and Collier really adds to that. So I've chucked him in my top 5, clearly dominated by Essendon players.
Yeah, Zach Merritt with his 17 disposals, as you mentioned. Dane Beams with the 19, leading the stat sheet for Brisbane. We're just joining us, Bombers, here by 29 points. Our Kangan Institute half-time break, real education, real skills, real jobs at kangan.edu.au. The 5 that need to lift and have a bigger impact in the second half.
Ox loves the pot, loves putting them in the pot. I haven't found it that easy, really, to find a top 5 that stand out for their, poor work in the first half. So there's a few apologies in there. The first is going to be to Daniel Rich, who did some really courageous stuff that I haven't seen him do before. Like, he filled the hole and got crunched, I think, by Joe Danaher. Have a nice old corky after that clash, and he showed plenty of courage, but he's only had 5 possessions.
Yeah.
And they've got to get the ball into his hands. He's a beautiful user. They really need him to set them up. If he's playing that role across half back, or indeed to finish off as he did with a nice goal in the opening quarter. But 5 possessions is not enough.
That's been the blight on him. There's just times when he just he's meandering around the ground and not impacting the contest, because there's not too many more damaging players when he gets ball in hand, particularly forward of the centre, than Daniel Rich. But we sort of had this same conversation about him most years.
Well, I was a bit hesitant to put him in there because of the courageous acts that he performed, and really value that. But just 5 possessions. Put McStay in there. maybe not. It's a big night for these key forwards, or he can play all over the ground a bit mixed day, but he's hardly touched it either. How many has he had? 3 disposals in a half, and he can look really impressive, but he's just got to do more. Got to get the pill a bit more. Put Tommy Bell in there as well for the Brisbane Lions. Dropped a couple of marks in that first half. He's had his 8 possessions and had a bit of an impact, but he didn't really make the most of the chances that he was going to be on the end of that would have ended up in having a shot at goal, and it's really important that. Jack Frost, probably because he left Collingwood, no more reason than that. And young Barrett, no, I'm only joking. Well, Jack hasn't done much wrong, but he hasn't had much of an influence. And young Barrett's barely touched it. That's a bit harsh on the second gamer, but I was running out of options.
As you said, there wasn't a heap of standouts. No. Earlier today, of course, big day of footy if you're just catching up. Gee, what a performance by Adelaide. 2-0. They're the highest scoring team in the competition. 24-point winners. Eddie Betts with 3, McKay kicked 3, Walker kicked 2 as they defeated Hawthorn 13-11-89. The Crows 16-17-113. The injury to Jenkins, a concern with the ribs. He was taken to hospital. But let's have a quick listen to Tom Lynch, who caught up with our very own Brett Anderson after Adelaide's win earlier today.
Tom, fantastic win today after having to fight from behind at quarter time. Tell us a little bit about what it was like when Josh Jenkins went down, and what probably went on out in the ground in terms of restructuring and reorganising.
Yeah, it actually took a little while to restructure after he went down. He's such an important player for us. So when he went down, few of us had to stay at home a little bit more. They were playing 7 defenders as well, which made things a little bit difficult. So they had a little bit of an advantage with aerially there. But we swung Andy Otten forward in the second half, and he had a huge impact of being able to bring the ball to ground for our little blokes at ground level, and that basically got us back into the game. So the pressure up the field as well obviously was critical at that. If you just bomb it in all day, it's with their 7 defenders and Josh down, as you said, we're going to be in for a long day. So we pressed in hard and we're able to play the game in our half.
Next week, Port Adelaide showdown at home. Obviously a massive build-up. Does anything change in terms of mentality going into play against Port? I know you try and keep things very similar, but is there anything in the back of your mind you sit there and think, oh, this means a tiny little bit more playing against a crosstown rival?
Oh, I'm not sure if we think it means a little bit more, but boys get really excited for the showdown. It's obviously a big event for the city of Adelaide, and Adelaide Oval is always electric. So it feels like when we play at Adelaide Oval, the crowd always feels like a showdown. So the boys don't really, change that aspect in terms of there's 55 there every week, 1,000 there every week. So some guys really get excited with that, and I think that's the strength of our group. The guys look excited for those big games, and that's going to be another big game. They're flying, so they had a great win last week up in Sydney, and obviously they play again this weekend at home. So we're going to fly home, lick our wounds, and hopefully prepare a good game plan to beat the Power.
Well, that was Tom Lynch on SEN footy a little bit earlier today. Big showdown. You would expect Port Adelaide probably to beat Fremantle tomorrow, although anything can happen. And of course, some real heat now on Rodney Eade. You feel like it's going to come, losing to Brisbane #1, who were terrible last year, and now a 102-point loss to GWS today at Spotless Stadium. And once again, their start was terrible, the Gold Coast, and just uncompetitive early, playing catch-up footy. Gee, the heat is going to come on. That is a big game next week, Rob. Gold Coast and Hawthorn up at Metricon Stadium. One could be 0-3.
One could be 0-3. How long since Hawthorn's been 0-3?
That is a very good question.
It's a very good question.
We'll see if we can get that exact figure. A long, long time. I think this is the first time since, 2009, they've been 0-2. Our Kangan Institute halftime break. Real education, real skills, real jobs. kangan.edu.au. Big second half to come here from the Gabba. Bombers led it by 29 points.